everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today and this week we're here for the ECRO Chasing Suisse Tour. Stage 1 starting here, and it's a big week of climbing for a Zwift race. So looking forward to this one to see how it goes. Now up there on the left I have the route. I just butchered that up from Zwift Insider with a bit of editing for the first bit. The normal route map doesn't include the lead-in up Fox Hill. So we are basically taking the streets of London, 5 climbs. I am riding the Halo bike. I've worked out that it's probably going to cost me a second a minute on these climbs, roughly. But at the end of the day, this is all a bit of fun, and I want to keep upgrading this bike rather than wasting, I guess you could call it, on using the S-Works SL8. So we're on the Project 74 from Specialized today. Now that's going to be important soon when we have a look at the field heading into the first climb. So Marshall Wu's here, which is always dangerous. He's been getting like top 3 to 5 in Sunday Race Club every week behind Osborne and Vink. Tends to ride a little bit more passive on Zwift, but I was in for a massive shock, and you'll soon see that unfold. Now, another rider to look out for, recently subscribed to this channel, so hi, mate. Jonas Saber, Danish rider in the level kit. I recently saw he did 6.5 watts a kilo for 10 minutes, so going to be super dangerous on this course. Hopefully, though, on the Halo bike, what I lose in time, I can hopefully draft. But you'll soon see that Wu was out to come out swinging today. Now, Gruppy, teammate of the Rainbow Chasers, is up the road. Really good tactic from him, getting a 20-30 second head start before the climb. Super strong rider, and he'll come back to us soon once Wu puts in a bit of work on the climb. So the early stages of Fox Hill were certainly solid. You can see Wu regularly up over 7 watts a kilo. It's not an electric pace, but it is very, very solid. And you can see the mini map there. We've already created some separation. I think the lead, we're down to 5 or 6 in this group. Strong riders. You've got the Sisu guys there. So Martin and Loritz. I pronounce that terribly. Martin says it really nice with his nice accent. So got those couple of fellas there. Gruppy now is at 8 seconds. So it's getting to the point where it's kind of dangerous if on this last ramp Wu goes crazy. But Gruppy's super strong, and he's going to end up over the climb with us. So here Wu goes with a 9 to 10 watt per kilo attack. We're in the wheel. It's on a course like this where there's 5 repeated climbs. The last thing I wanted to have to do was to just be repeating 600 watt surges to chase Wu. I've raced Wu a few times where he's done this, and it's eventually on courses where it's short enough, it hasn't broken me, and I've been able to win in a sprint finish. But I remember one instance in Innsbruck where he just absolutely tore me apart with attacks like that. So we got over Fox Hill, sorry. That group is together, and then so there was some solid attacks here. Gruppy's on the front, but Wu goes to work very, very shortly and continues his bid to get isolated, I think I would call it. So we're about to see. I'm at this stage happy to kind of keep the pace honest if it meant Wu isn't going to do 9 to 10 watt per kilo attacks, but doesn't help. There he goes to the front, and I respond to this one up over 600 watts. Again, this is not what I want to be doing on this route. And he knows that, I'm sure. That's how you break the field apart. You can see a couple of the guys taking a while to get there. Now, Jonas came across, seemingly pretty comfortably, showing the form that I thought that he had coming into this tour. Now, mentally, I know that I'm on the Halo bike as well. So when you couple that with the fact that I know the numbers Woo can produce, I kind of in my head know that I can't match him today if he's going to ride like this. And so when he goes this time, I decide to let him go and kind of settle into my own tempo to basically try and limit the losses and ride as hard as I can for the next 33 kilometers. Unfortunately, it gets a little bit to the point where you're towing guys, which isn't good mentally. And I certainly don't really expect these guys to help me out too much. I know my standing in this race and that they'll expect me to work, and that's understandable. So I kind of just ride along at a tempo that limits the losses a little bit. We give him 15 seconds before the steep part of Leith Hill. And then ideally, if I can, would try and get myself solo on this climb so that I don't then have to worry about towing Jonas around. But I'm not strong enough to create any separation here at all. Unfortunately, um, probably a combination of just not riding like an attacking style, kind of riding a style that limits losses and is fast. Probably a little bit, obviously, drafting, and then a little bit that 1 second or so per minute that I'm losing on the Halo bike is obviously a factor as well. So um, I can tell very early on this climb that it's not going to happen. And so I've got company pretty much for the remainder of the race as Woo continues to extend that gap up to 25 seconds. I'm now kind of thinking the GC is in all sorts of trouble. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of mountains here, but losing a minute to my compatriots in the other slots, it's going to be very, very difficult to claw back, and especially if Woo turns up to this slot each night. I'm in for a rough week, it's fair to say, but at least that means I can ride the Halo bike and keep upgrading it without worrying too much. Woo goes up in 4:23, so we descend. Um, Basically, the idea is to keep the speed high on these descents. This is where we could probably catch Woo a little bit without hopefully expending too much energy. So Jonas and I obviously do most of the work. He does help me for sure. In certain parts, I give a little elbow flick there, and he obliges. Just a nice little chance to get a tiny breather on a couple of occasions. So I thank him for that. Um, I felt like he was stronger than he kind of gave on. By this stage, as we got on to Keith Hill, I almost forgot that he was on my wheel and just really tried to focus on my own power. So goal here was over 400 in the red. I literally looked at that mini map and my power over 400 on the red. Tried to do more like 350 to 370 on the orange. As you can see here, back up over 400 as we hit the steeper section. So kind of broke it up into some more over-unders a little bit for this section. And look, to be honest, my legs were amazing in this race. Like, this is by far the strongest I've ever rode Surrey Hills. Repeat times 5. I was on a ripper day, but it's just Woo was far too strong. So did a 9:15 up that hill, which is pretty good on the Halo bike, for sure. And again, so we've got like 7 or 8K. I think we closed probably 25 seconds in this section. Um, these sections, like, always honest, never a moment to relax, because I'm trying to limit the losses to see if I can come in at under a minute as we head into the final climb of Fox Hill. And again, my plan for this one was to be ride really strongly on this red steep section to start with, and then basically treat the 1K to go marker as the finish line, or where this hill kind of gets to that point that it flattens out. So um, again, we're still up over 400 watts, so no problem with the power. Like, super stoked with what is coming out here. Now Jonas having a really good ride as well. Still firmly attached in the wheels, no worries. Now, I would have really liked if he had legs this good to give a little bit more assistance, I guess, given what's about to happen to me. Now, I fully expect to get beaten by him in the finish. That is not a problem at all. Happy to get third and to try and limit the losses. But given the kick that he unleashes in a minute, I would have preferred to get third, but to be 10 seconds closer in the end. But that's racing. It's all part of it, and understand that. And I actually find out after the race, which would have definitely changed the way I rode this, that Woo doesn't have an ECRO license, so he will not actually count to the results for this stage. So I've basically time trialed for 50 minutes for nothing in the end, to only put a heap of time into guys that I didn't plan to put time into today necessarily. But yeah, who would have thought that Surrey Hills would be in the Strava power medals for all-time powers with all those descents? It's my second best 1 hour power, what I've produced here today. And I'm finishing really strongly, getting to the top of this climb, trying to get up into some speed to have one last little super tuck for a couple of seconds, and then into my finishing power for the final 500 meters, up over 400 still. And I'm about to get absolutely stomped in the finish. This is a lot of power left. As I said, would it have been nice to kind of use that together to close the gap a bit more, but is what it is. That was a really nice ride from him. There's the Zwift graph. That's nuts. That's a big effort to start the tour off. Yeah, that's one of my best legs that I've had for sure. There's the Zwift power results. Yeah, so not much more you can say, but that was very hard and a very solid start in terms of the overall tour. So I've only lost a second in the end. Ruben won slot 2 by a couple of minutes, and Adrian won slot 3 by a couple of minutes. So the Rainbow Chasers are looking really good early, but we do have a Danish contender, that's for sure. So I'll see you in the next race. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of that one in the comments. Cheers.